Welcome back, guys, to the PCL, the Paladins Console League. I'm Fawn. I'm the host here, but of course, can't do a two-man job by myself. This time it's Dave here with me.
I think you could do a two-man job if you really put your heart and your mind to it.
Carson told me the same thing.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
Oh well, we all believe in you, but I am up here. It's going to be a one and a one-man job.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, we're just going to, of course, give out a little bit of announcements here. I mean, PS4 NA. Fortunately, we do not have for you guys today. Hydra versus Streamix was a DQ. Heating Up versus Onslaught was a DQ. So we don't have any of those matches on PS4 NA. And then these are the matches it is that you actually, we weren't able to show, but you see how they went 3-0 for Onslaught, 3-0 for Hydra Gaming. And Eaststorm versus Eternity, there's a few technical issues, so we won't be able to show that one. But Eaststorm did end up taking it over Eternity Esports. So the only thing it is that we're going to be showing for today for this very last set is Hype Universe Classified.
And if there's any kind of silver lining to the PS4 NA DQ situation, is that Onslaught already locked themselves into the Hi-Res Expo qualifier week. They did that, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago at this point. It's been a little while since they've locked that in. So in all reality, I mean, they're 11-0 Onslaught are, so even if it wasn't a DQ, we probably would have seen a very similar scoreline to that one. But we do get to watch Hype Unit again, which I am excited about. It's technically a 1 versus 2 matchup in this region. Hype Unit at 10-0. Don't really drop maps either, so this is one where they'll be heavy favorites, and it's really just kind of tweaking those last-minute things. We'll have one more week after this, maybe get a look at Hype Unit there. But really, this is going to be the closest competition they face in their region prior to that qualifier week.
Right, exactly. I mean, Classified literally dead center on second place right now, or at least second seed. Hype Unit, like Dave was saying, is 10-0. We're going to show the NA standings, of course, as well, so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about right now. And you see it on NA Xbox right there. Hype Unit already qualified, 10-0. Classified, 5-5. Eaststorm, 4-6. And Eternity at 1-9.
I mean, this is NA Xbox is, arguably the least contested region in the PCL that we have at 10-0 and then 30+ minus for Hype Unit. As I mentioned, they don't drop maps. They are 3-0 in every single set they have played this split. For the first time maybe ever, the asterisk next to those team names is a good thing. That means that they are locked in. They could lose this week and next week 3-0 as much as they want, and they'll be able to move through and stay qualified for that. But yeah, up against Classified, I expect that this is going to be methodical. This is a team that doesn't make a lot of mistakes, if really any, because I imagine if we dive into the 3-0 sets that we've seen out of them, a lot of the maps that they win, a lot of those 3 maps that they have won this entire split are probably pretty lopsided 4-0, 4-1, maybe some 4-2s here and there, because these guys have just been dominant. I mean, sometimes in the back, people will change regions just to avoid playing against these guys. That does happen sometimes. And for good reason, I think they were the earliest team to qualify for HRX qualifier. So maybe just working out some of the kinks today, trying some new things. We saw some of that from Aaron Monitor, but should be some fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun too. I mean, Classified, of course, they have their chance to at least try and play or try out new things, see what it is they have in store for that, of course. But speaking of what's in store, we're going to have to show you guys what we have in store for the map bans and see what we're going to be what maps we aren't going to be having up on the boards, where I should say.
Frog Isle still available.
Yeah, Timber Mill, Jaguar Falls. Okay, is this? Wow. Nick,
I doubt.
Nick, are you hearing? Are you watching?
Something tells me we're not going to go to Frog Isle, but it's at least available. This is like the stars suddenly aligned for Nick, and that I think he's casting this set with Gore.
Yeah,
and
I think so too.
Frog Isle is available. I mean, it is a map that I could see Hype Unit wanting to play. They kind of like that quick, fast, aggressive play style, very snowbally maps. I mean, that is a map where if you are on the back foot at all, things really start to get out of control. It's a pretty quick push. So we'll have to see if that's where we're going. It's not. Bright Marsh, though, still some fun to watch.
Bright Marsh, yeah, that is going to be where we're going for Map 1, Game 1. Just a very, very close quarters map. Of course, we'll be seeing. I mean, we've seen some blasters picks. We've seen all sorts of things be brought up. We've seen the Grok Fury as well. Console was the one that I believe that ended up starting out on that foot one of these weeks. So, I mean, we definitely have some stuff it is that we're going to be seeing that can be brought out on this
map. It's definitely a very versatile map. Kind of in the same vein as like a Jag Falls or as an Ice Mines. I mean, it's blasters you bring up for good reason. I mean, there's lots of kind of these close quarters engagements where good AoE, good positional control is very important. Victor, as far as long-range damage, there's good long sight lines if you need it as well. But Victor is basically do it all. I mean, you don't want to, but you can play him kind of in that mid to close range, right up in somebody's face. The grenade AoE damage, everything in his kit kind of caters to this map. There are really not many bad maps for Victor. Not surprised to see him first picked here, though.
Victor on hype unit side, Khan and Genos going to be coupled together on classified side for the second and third pick. And the Grover Barrack. I mean, Grover, of course, on a map like Bright Marsh, you can heal through walls. You've got the fact that he can pretty much allow everybody to stick together to him. I mean, I like the pick. I like the Barrack as well, having that sustainability. Of course, having Dome Shield, one very, very strong ultimate. It's already looking pretty good for him.
Yeah, no, and I like the way that Grover kind of works on this map. I mean, I brought up earlier in some of the viability on this map, these close quarters, more often than not, at least on the mid fight, and a lot of times on the push, you are just by default going to be near your Grover. So it's not super technical as far as spreading out enough healing to the rest of your team. Whirlwind, kind of a good counter ultimate, keep your team in the fight if you're ever on the back foot. Hype unit is rarely on the back foot, but it'll at least keep them in the game and maybe even start to engage some fights as we sometimes see. I do like Leon Willow, though, for classified. I think if they do pick this Grok, there's a chance. I mean, Willow very good, honestly, into a Grover. If you're ever able to hit that dead zone, it does mitigate a lot of what they bring. And you mentioned Grok. I think the Whirlwind Tempest combo is going to be sort of tough for classified to deal with. I think Willow has a tall task ahead to mitigate as much of that circular healing and damage that Hype have.
Yeah, I mean, along with that, I mean, Tempest, I mean, Whirlwind, you got the movement speed. With Tempest, he's going to be running all over the place. It's going to be hard to pin him down for sure. Makoa, on the other hand, is good at pinning people down. He'll be able to get that hook. He'll be able to do what he needs to, especially coming into, I believe, Hype unit's lineup. But whose draft do you like more? Just a little bit.
You know, I actually don't mind Classified's draft. Okay. I think, you know, if you're putting money on a team, it's always going to be Hype unit in this region. But I think Classified have given themselves a good shot of competing in this game.
Here we go, guys. Game one, number 1 versus number 2 seed on Bright Marsh. Let's get it.
It's the perfect way to put it, really. I mean, this is not a bad draft from Classified.
Not at all.
But you just have to play the odds in this one. Hype unit's draft is one that is designed to steamroll you in 6 minutes.
And it's also built kind of perfectly around the strengths that Classified have. Like Terminus, you don't necessarily think of him immediately when you see Willow, but he can help deal with her. He can help absorb some of that damage, and when it comes to point control, I think he's going to bring a lot with that. And so a lot of what Classified are maybe trying to bring in that would give them an advantage, it's kind of met with equally, maybe a little higher here by Wonderful on the Terminus. Also running Crush.
Yeah.
So getting a little bit of stun instead of the slow.
Instead of the, it's a Decimation, right, is the name of that?
Yeah.
Your Calamity Blast do 100 more damage each. Let's take a look at his loadout, right? If he's not running Decimation, he's probably running a pretty different loadout there on Terminus. Most of what Terminus's run is designed around generating those charges faster and using those charges to recharge Power Siphon's juice bar, which is a very important part of the kit. No kills so far, but Trenzik, traditionally a frontline player, rocking the Victor behind the ADS, getting some good damage out, but again, no kills, no first blood falling just yet.
And so far, tracing perfectly with it. He's been able to get, again, like you said, a lot of damage, but not locking anyone down. Everyone is perpetually low, but it's going to be first blood instead for Classified, and then Trenzik steps up to the plate.
Working his way through that con shield as well. Shu sneaks an axe in behind Leon's bulwark and manages to actually grab the killing blow. Mr. Pickles grabs Cool Matt. Trenzik is all the way in on this Victor. But again, this composition from Hype Unit designed to go to the point, fight from the point, be one with the point. And it does just that. Cute little peel here from Makoa. Terminus happy to just switch targets anyone he's in melee range of. He's going to be next. Met with that Grim Fate, the Massacre Axe. But running away with it so far is Hype.
Also, the Omega skin here. Just throwing it out there. Wonderful running. My favorite Terminus skin because the axe is so good. That comes through. Much more befitting of the name Massacre Axe. And with that healing coming down from the Tempest, they're going to stay alive. They're going to stay aggressive. You know, we've been talking about it. It's the reason you don't want to bet against Flashpoint in most of these cases. They were 36-0 on their map wins last split. And depending on how this set
So
goes
far,
and next
so good.
week goes, they're going to go 36-0 again. They could go without losing a map in their regular season the entire year, which is just part of the reason they are
What is that,
one of the
72-0?
most dominating maps. Yeah, 72-0. That's ridiculous to think about.
Shu gets his
72
toenails
total
clipped.
maps
That
and
is
not losing one.
A lot of maps, but that's just Hype Unit, baby. The dominant force here in North American Xbox. Small slowdown here. Trinsic turns that one around, gets 1 of 2 kills to reignite the offense, make it a double kill now. Only 2 members standing. Make that 1 member standing in his way. Khan, Commander's grab forward, gets the grab on a Wonderful, but it's just a paltry amount of damage. Makoa barely even wants to get down here into the pit. He's dead before he hits the ground, just trying to get down for the contest. 2-0 Hype Unit.
I believe it's Cool Matt there is the odd man out, as in the one who's joining to kind of play. I was trying to figure out why Trinsic on DPS, and honestly, with Cool Matt being on the team, I'm still kind of thinking why Trinsic on DPS. He's not doing a bad job though so far. He's been able to accomplish a lot on this Victor. Is that 15,000 more damage than the next highest, which is his own Grok.
Yeah, I think Victor is kind of like,
Just free.
he's like the Leon of console, right?
Yeah, anybody can
Every
play it.
player on your team has got to have one. Leon, Cassie is typically, if you're going to see a support or an off-tank role on the DPS, that's where they're going to be. And they usually do damn good at it, right? It's
Yeah.
a fairly straightforward kit. You either have it or you don't.
I feel like I'm subliminally messaging people, with not subliminally because I'm just outright saying it. But Androxus used to be that champion. I've just mentioned him so much today that I feel like I'm telling people that I want to see him again.
No, I
and
miss
this
him
is
too,
me
Cole.
outright saying, hey, play him.
I miss him too. I'm right there with you. The fight is already underway here. Ancient Rage has been popped at Tempest just to keep everybody fueled and healthy through it. A Whirlwind as well. Makoa can't help to get through all that healing. 2 more kills on the side of Hype Unit, as well as 66% and climbing on the objective. They're going to be up 3-0 before you know it. Everything used except Reanimate. But Gore, that's A-okay, because they got what they came for.
And honestly, having Reanimate is even more helpful. You're at a 3-0 under 5 minutes. You're going to try to push this one as far as you can.
Yeah.
If Terminus can get as aggressive as he wants with a Reanimate,
You're gonna end the
Wonderful is
game.
going to be in their face, and then that's a free zone at the end of the push. It's better than a Dome Shield.
Ian Hart manages to get 1 stifling kill onto Emmett Payne. Barrick has to fall back to meet him. Cool Matt under some pressure now from Willow, from Khan, but has the help there. Wonderful goes down as well. Does he pop Reanimate? Doesn't look like it. The rest of Hype Unit kind of falling to the wayside here. A lot of people going down, and finally, a small moment of respite for Classified. They get their feet back under them, but again, Gore, when you get these big streaks rolling, you have a lot of credits in hand to spend.
Yeah.
Sometimes losing a team fight can actually be seen as a win.
And honestly, that's that timer right there. That's the perfect time to do it. Hey, we just got this. We got like 30% of the push done. Wipe, buy items, come back in. We're 600 credits above just from point captures, let alone all the kills we've gotten. And now you're wide set. And you're also starting to see right here the reason Willow is not quite as big on this map as, say, Drogo's, and it's just once you pop that Fey Flight, everyone just goes inside.
There it
It's
is.
like a rainy day.
Little barrage, exactly. Getting inside, playing out of line of sight of Willow is a good way to dismantle her effectiveness. Kind of a risky play to the back line here for Reagan, but it works out. The payload is still moving forward. So much time, though, still on the clock. It looks like it will be another team fight win for Classified. Again, kind of, because Hype Unit are just continuing to move this payload forward. Reanimate from Wonderful. It's battle shouted away. Here comes the overpower up and off, but not all the way off. Crushing his way back onto the map. Wonderful refuses to go down for now. Sounds like an Ancient Rage at his feet as well. Has the angle, so should be able to clean up this kill. Terminus finally will go down. But at what cost, Gormizer?
I mean, I'll be honest. Yeah, I think Wonderful is perfectly happy with that trade. He ate 2 tank ults for his life twice.
That's a hell of a lot of value here. Not a lot to stand in the way of Hype Unit as they need but an inch to get this one through. The second Willow is dead and no longer contesting. That payload hits its home mark, hits the 4-0. It's not 6 minutes. It's not that sub 6 minutes. It's not a blistering pace. Classified were able to win a couple of team fights there, but when it's all said and done, man, that Hype Unit was a freight train.
Yeah.
It was on its way home, and there wasn't a whole lot you could do to slow it down.
The draft was built to play that way. They played it exactly the way they wanted to. Classified did a good job stalling them out, but it took them 3 points. They were down 3-0 before they started picking up those wins. And a lot of it was Reagan going kind of into the back line.
Taking some risks.
And, yeah, taking that risk, saying, you know what, I can get back there. 1 damage away from 48,000 for him as a lot of good damage for them. But it was, in fact, when it says, get out me swamp up
Wait,
there.
what? Where did that come from?
That was Trinsic, if I remember correctly. 9-3 and 13.
All right.
He did really well.
He's a big guy, but he's not no Shrek looking.
He's not
no
an ogre.
Shrek looking frontline player. I mean, give the man some credit. 9-3, absolutely obliterated the damage charts this time around. Nobody else even close, even on his game, but nobody else on Hype Unit drafting super heavy damage. Right, there was a lot of utility, a lot of movement speed, a lot of sustain, and they were able to use a pick like Wonderful had in this Terminus. Right, stay involved. Get some key moments there in the fight as well, but of course Trinsic. With those type of numbers, we got to take a look at some of these highlights, as well as the fact that this is typically a frontline player, and for him to be able to pick up the sights and do this well is definitely commendable.
And it's just glorious for them. They committed, that was like right at the end where they committed so much onto Wonderful, but between Trinsic and Cool Matt here, there's almost nowhere to stand. I mean, Barrack is going to hit you, and Trinsic is going to hit you to the finish. Both of them being able to do a pretty sizable chunk of damage in these right moments just made it so much easier for him to kind of stay at this zone. No one ever looked at him. No one could get to him. He was playing safe.
To his credit, he did play that fight very well, right? That was him coming back into that fight after Hardy being kind of forced out a little bit, right? Disengaging properly and then re-engaging at the right time to match that first blood. They didn't get first blood. They just were able to match that one kill and turn that team fight around. A lot of teams give up or disengage after giving up a first blood. Not Hype Unit. They knew what they had going for them, and they knew the strengths of that composition. Yeah. And they played it really, really nicely.
And it was pretty much exactly what I expect out of them to this day and age, where it's just, we're going to play aggressive, we're going to draft aggressive, and we're going to win this region as hard as we can. And when we come to LAN, which they were one of the first teams qualified for it, we're going to try to do that to any and every team we meet.
They play this style even when it comes to the cross-play, so look for them to be getting that practice on it. They want to make sure they are looking as good as possible when they make it to the placement week. That does it for game number 1. We're going to throw it to a quick break, and on the other side, we'll have game 2 ready for you. SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins Console League.
Do you miss me at all? Do you think about the things we used to do? No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all. Why didn't you call? Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable, I can feel it in the air. Can you feel me?
Welcome back, guys. Hype Unit playing very clean and concise. Already taking their first game over Classified on this set, and I could say that they're looking pretty good, and probably more than that. I mean, they're not 10-0 for without reason.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this team, and they brought this up on the cast, and I think it's a pretty absurd stat if you really look at it. If they win 3-0 this week, which certainly looking doable, and 3-0 next week, they will have gone 72-0 map-wise in the PCL in 2019. That is nuts. These guys have been relatively unstoppable. I mean, this region, with the contest in the other regions just today with only 1 week left, confirming our final 2 teams. We confirmed half with only 1 week left. They were confirmed way long ago, and every other team in this region, Classified is at 5-5, but map-wise, everyone is negative. It probably will be after today, negative map-wise as well. So that just shows you how good these guys are, and I love seeing them, you know, some of the other players on their roster, some of the subs getting in, giving it a go here today. Get Out Me Swamp 10 out of 10 name and great performance.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, having the top damage in the entire game really on the Victor, positioning well, playing well. I mean, it's really hard to ask anything better from him. Let's see if he can do that in this next map, though. In game 2, we're going to see where we're going, heading off. And this is going to be Stonekeep. Oh, not Frog Isle yet.
Not Frog Isle yet. I don't know if we'll get Frog Isle here today. Stonekeep, though, it's hard to kind of predict with Hype Unit. I mean, if you're looking weeks 1 through 6 or 7 or whatever, I mean, you can kind of get an idea. They'll strictly stick to the meta, stick with everything that works, only really play the stuff that works. That's why they're so good. But playing here in these matchups, it's more open to maybe, you know, a couple picks that are kind of normal, kind of fine. Maybe the Victor, Makoa as well, you know, that's kind of standard for them. But maybe reach out, maybe branch out. It's really hard to predict what they're going to try to lock down. Strix would be something relatively interesting, in that lots of teams are starting to pick him up. I think that Stonekeep is one of the earlier maps. I think he used to get played on Stonekeep a while back. It's kind of been in and out of the meta here and there, but I can't imagine that this looks really bad at all for Hype. I think this is a good start to their draft. Some great damage with Strix and good engagement with Tyra.
Yeah, but I'm just a little bit reserved on the fact that I see Classified pick out the Atlas first. They have the Inara, and now I'm pretty sure they're going to end up locking in this Furia. The thing is that if Atlas goes Divider against both Strix and Tyra, that makes their job a lot harder. So I'm impressed in the confidence of Hype Unit to be able to lock in those two characters and then be ready to plan a draft around the Atlas. I do like the characters, though.
No, and that's a second and third pick after a first pick Atlas. And Makoa's still available as well. It's kind of only been Makoa with Atlas banned out. It's a good point, though. Depending on the talent that Atlas runs, maybe a little bit harder for Hype Unit to confirm some of that damage. It is a long cooldown, though, so it's kind of if Hype Unit can stall out just for a moment, kind of kite backwards, keep the fight going, and then that temporal divide falls, you know, you're looking at a 20-plus second cooldown, depending on the cooldown cards with that. And that's when maybe Hype Units start to re-engage and look to win the fight. So it definitely is a counter, I think, depending on how Hype Unit play around it. Could keep them in this game. Leon Willow again here for Classified. You know, I think I say the same thing as I did game 1, where Classified have picked themselves a great draft. The Inflame is a perfect go button for them, and a lot of damage that can be followed up on. I can't, you can't bet against Hype Unit. I think they are just too smart and too good at this game. So good drafting from Classified. I think better play from Hype Unit wins the game again.
I agree with that, too. I mean, we see the Saris. We got Fernando Ash as well. We got the double Octane. We got the Strix. We got the Tyra. Hype Unit with the interesting comp. Classified definitely looks like they're going to be able to put up a fight. But can they win? That's what's most important coming into game 2 on Stonekeep.
Again, Gore, these Classified compositions, I like them. I think there's a lot of merit to them, but it's just like,
2 gold stars to their drafter.
How are they going to lose with it? That's the question.
That's where things get rough, right? When you're going up against a team like Hype Unit, a normal composition's actually maybe worse for you because they know how to play against it so well. Because guess what they beat all the time is normal drafts. Although Atlas might throw a little bit of a wrench in that. He's definitely already broken through time, might be able to break down some of what Hype Unit have.
They should have
cause some trouble against Hype Unit. But it is so heavily in their favor draft-wise that it's ridiculous.
This draft is sick, Classified. I like it. Again, it's tough. We're dealing with a team that is looking to go 72-0 in terms of their map score, and having not dropped a map whole last 365-year-long split. This is crazy what Hype Unit are in line to accomplish. So it's tough to vote against a team like that. But everything is pointing at Classified here. First Blood did go to Classified. Again, nobody really out in front in terms of the capture objective just yet. Wonderful. Pushed into a corner, has a shield out and ready to go. Pumat diving in on the Strix, taking a risk. Doesn't pay off for him, but the rest of his team manages to grab a couple of frags for their trouble.
And they push Reagan out of there as well, which keeps that Willow at bay. The one thing they don't have here is something to counter her, and something that's going to maybe keep her at bay on one of her better maps. I mean, Stonekeep was one of the places, you're all back to the Fnatic days. This is where Fasheka was starting to pull her out just for funsies before she was even in the meta. Now that she's here, this is one of her better and kind of stronger maps because it was there already for them. And alongside an Atlas, again, there's a lot of merit to this team, and that's the amount of damage they can do in one go.
A bold crossfire there from Evan Payne, to be sure, gets shut down immediately. Little stasis field goes up, but just continuously trading out kill after kill. Nice shot to the gut there from the Talon rifle. It's going to put some pressure on Furia. Up down here with the assert dominance. Meanwhile, on the objective, Young Wonderful has just been capturing dutifully away, and he's put Hype Unit in a position to be up 99% to 54 over. Immortal's going to be forced out here as he is on his last legs. They're going to get the shield up in time, gets the heal as well. A lot of healing coming Wonderful's way as Hype Unit look to close it out.
And they get the kill on Zindel all in one go. Like, I mean, everything that could have gone right for Wonderful there went wonderfully for Hype Unit because of the way they keep it going. But Zofit and Hart still alive and still causing a lot of trouble. And Enlightenment there, the nice shield block turnaround. Wonderful, as well as the Ceres behind them, are the life force of Paladins right now.
Oh, Mr. Nick here on the Fernando is absolutely locking it down. His team is really not won this war, to be honest with you, but it's just an absolute titanium boulder on the objective. Immovable is Wonderful. I want to see the objective time charts right now. My man, damage shielded crazy, already over 100 seconds on the objective, fighting out against the Legion that was Classified. Frankly, it felt like Classified won every team fight there.
Yeah, I mean, even at the end, it didn't feel like it was Hype Unit winning. It comes down to Shu and Wonderful being such a good duo behind them. I mean, the healing was always there. Finally, someone gets rid of Wonderful for once. Although if you're Classified here, it's a little too late. It's also on the back of that realization that you still have such a good draft. Like, that was just outplayed 100% of the way. So very solid from Hype Unit. Zimit Payne and kind of Cool Matt start picking it up. 5-4, 5-3. They haven't had the cleanest of games so far. But when you have Wonderful playing like that, it makes it a lot easier for you to start stepping up and getting better slash lines.
This is what's dangerous here, is Cool Matt getting to a good angle and starting to really rip that. Do all types of that. I feel Strix, he has a place on the mid-fight of Stone Keep, but it's really towards the end of the payload push for me, whether you're on offense or defense. I feel you really start to bring a lot of value. You get this longer line of sight, you get a lot more cover to hide behind and angles to play with. And it's just harder to flank you, right? Nobody's going to be diving all the way out from their spawn or all the way into your spawn to try and get you.
And, I mean, before Strix was even meta, and I don't know how long ago it was, I feel like it was this year, though, Cool Matt playing Strix on Stone Keep was not really unheard of, and he's done well with it in the past as well. So something that feels at home for him. A couple of missed shots right there. Enlightenment going
Tried to
out
read
there.
the peak. Tried to read the peak.
Did not quite find it.
Yeah, he thought Cool was about to peek that. I respect it. I definitely respect it. Unfortunately, it just didn't go his way that time. Wonderful picks up the kill onto Nara. I do not think that was a bad Enlightenment by any means. Cool Matt's shot is on right now, folks. It is dialed in. Gotta exile this man. Get him out of the fight. Looks like Resilience might already be online in some capacity for Wonderful. He popped out of that one quick, but again, the kills need to be there to follow up. Wonderful already with Resilience too. Throws down another Immortal. The shield goes up again, but these frags are not happening right now for Hype Unit. They need to get more in the feed. A couple are there, but Classified ultimately able to hold the defense.
That's just good control. Trinsic and Wonderful, both alive and in the area. Just unable to stay on the objective, I think, as much as they had intended to. Too much control coming down from Classified. Part of the reason Atlas is usually warded is because he can just kind of send you back in time, send you back in place to make sure that you're not around that objective anymore. And with overtime going as long as it has, Wonderful keeping things going way longer than they should for Hype Unit in a lot of those fights. It is good to maybe see them get knocked down, but he just used that Immortal, so not going to have that available this round. He's going to have to charge it up the good old-fashioned way.
Not even close, but frankly, when you look at the side of Classified, their resources are stripped a little thin as well. Enlightenment's back up to 73%. Seismic Crash just passively charged to full there from 99%.
Wonderful's rich. He's got Cot 2, Resilience 2, and another item. What was that? A Blast Shield on top of it. Like,
dummy wealthy.
he's just running in the money right now.
Ooh, a little 1v1 there between Reagan and Coolmat. Coolmat actually coming out on top of it. A very close range sniper fight, but again, that's part of the strength of Strix. He can fight you at close range. He doesn't really care, doesn't bother him that much. And the rest of the fight's going Hype Unit's way as well. 4-5 for nothing. And they're already off to a 30% lead on the objective.
Wonderful going to test his luck this time. Instead of on the objective, kind of zoning for the objective. Very aggressive play already. He's going to look to try and burn down to get a lot of damage. 65% and rising on that Immortal and on the point. So both going to kind of keep them going. But with Coolmat gone, that opens up Classified to get back in the fight.
There it is. A lot of members of Classified kind of surrounding the objective right now, but Emmett Payne free firing from in the Cathedral. He's there to provide the support for his support. A little bit of peel as well. 2 more kills though for Classified. They might be able to make this work. Double kill for Zopik as he surges to the back line, trying to snipe blow for blow with Coolmat backing off, realizing that's not his matchup. Wonderful runs out of gas on the objective. And for the first time this game, Classified have managed to take control of the map.
With an 84% lead here for Hype Unit, and with how big the deficit was between them, they should be able to get back for one more fight. They have an Immortal and no other ultimates available to try and do this. So if Wonderful can get in there, he can at least stall things out, and it's going to require the rest of the team and a lot of work, especially with Trinsic gone, to make sure this continues to go their way.
There it is, evening the score up. Classified at 90, Hype Unit at 84 on the objective, but 2 early kills in this engagement. 1 dive looked like it was going to go the way of Classified. Zundel manages to take down Wonderful again. Little burn monster on the objective, and Nara can't stand in that for very long. It's an overtime that will now expire, flip the way of Hype Unit, and there's no one within miles to contest. So the second payload in a row goes to Hype Unit.
And just being able to finally and fully capture that one, keep themselves up on it, and this time starting off much cleaner than the last objective. I mean, during the last one, they captured it, and they're still in the middle of a fight during all of it. This time around, they're going to be able to move forward, get a good 30% start on it before met with any resistance truly from Classified. I mean, if you're Hype Unit, that starts to sound like a recipe for potentially converting this already.
Yeah.
And trying to get that up to a 3-1 lead.
Seismic Crash was used. I'm not sure exactly where that hit. Passively charged now is Assert Dominance. Everything basically available except Immortal for Hype Unit. Plenty of resources going in. An early frag from Coolmat, making a second from Wonderful. Only 3 members standing in the way now. And with more ultimates than members contesting on the defense, Classified are up against the ropes.
And they're finding shots right now. Zopik is doing anything and everything he can, kind of laughing off the damage from Trinsic. But Trinsic,
nice.
that was
Got him.
2, 3, 4 times I saw him go for that knockback, and that was finally the time he caught him where that second chance wasn't there.
Oh, this is bad.
So good control, and now he's got full control of the high ground.
Yeah, when you're in a position to assert dominance, the high ground, which it looks like he will do when the time is right. A lot of members starting to group up, come out of spawn. He makes it up there with like 16 HP. Rewinded back out of it, 62 HP, excuse me. It's all over now for Mr. Trinsic, but is it over for Hype Unit? Surging in forward now. Wonderful wants to continue to fight this. Mr. Pickles shuts it all down. Make sure that defense holds for now, but Gormizer, as with every other Hype Unit offense, when it fails, you often look at the clock and say, oh no, there's still a minute on the clock.
Yeah.
Plenty of time here for Hype Unit to collect themselves and give this one more try.
Too much time to deal with if you're Classified. You need to start finding more consistent kills. Trinsic being low as he is going to make it a little easier just stalling that one out. Although with Assert Dominance already down, maybe Hype Unit aren't as lenient on Trinsic to open up the gates. They have a Crossfire, they have a Convergence, and they have an Immortal. I anticipate if they want to go for this, one of those being used to seal the deal.
Wonderful is going to surge forward, shield up, trying to clear out the high ground for his team. Reagan dives again, but trades out 1 for 1. Given how close the payload is to the defender spawn, you have to call that one worth it. Exiled around the corner. Where else will this go? On to Wonderful. He shrugs it off fairly quickly. Trinsic will do the same. Not a lot grabbed there in terms of value from the Exile. Wonderful shield is expiring. Has to get off. They have plenty of time to work with this overtime, or do they? The wall just not good enough. Manages to get in there. Contest range is still available. Coolmat finds the first frag onto Ian Hart, but is it enough to close this one out? Cole?
Right now he's showing off exactly why that shield cooldown is so important and dominant for Fernando, and he's getting back into this still with the Immortal, but it doesn't matter. They're burning him down.
So much healing coming through. Look at it, the formidable healing. Plus shoe juicing him up. Wonderful. Just has HP for days to work with. That's really all you need as Fernando. It's a simple kit, but if you can get a lot of uptime, you can really accomplish a lot.
And this is showcasing pretty much exactly what the intent of his latest change was, to kind of get that shield up more often.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's only one thing Fernando does well. He's a good tank. That's pretty much all his kit is designed to do, is live and survive. And that's what he does. 4750 health, a Ceres behind him, his shield on the lowest cooldown that he has possible for himself. Plus the Immortal up and available here. A lot of things that are lining up for Hype Unit to potentially find this one. But the kills the last few points, and honestly even towards the end there, are going back and forth. Like, the best case they've been for a Hype Unit has been a couple of wins during the last round. But Classified has been biting back pretty hard every single time.
They really are fighting. Zophic's just going to dive straight to the back line here. Immortal comes out, and Immortal is what forces you to turn around there. I'm not sure if I really agree with that. 2 kills for free, really. Hype Unit finding the way just to steamroll this fight. Reagan, again, he's diving to the back line, getting his 1-for-1. But obviously, that's just not enough. 4-for-1, 5-for-1 now as Trenchik cleans up the last 2.
Being able to cancel out of that Immortal too. Just, hey, I'm going to pop it. Everyone turns and looks at me. We get the kills we need. Everyone gets the healing they need. And now I cancel it and I'm fighting you the same way that I would be if we were on the point. A very good assert dominance in terms of control right here. And with 60%, this might be the play that just ends the game for Classified.
Well, he's, if nothing else, stalling out a lot of members of Classified in the backline. Doesn't end up grabbing any of the kills. But my goodness, he slows down the support and the Willow. Really 2 of the biggest pieces to the puzzle so far. 96%, 99%, and overtime is gifted to Classified because of Inara's last efforts. But as the kill feed continues to fill up red, you already know what it is. It's a Hype Unit victory.
Zundel with his dying breath crawling onto the objective just to get that one hit, that one touch to be like, no, you will be given overtime, my sons.
Yeah.
Didn't quite lead to as much. And another instance of really, really great draft from Classified, just better play from Hype Unit where they're just standing a little bit above. You can chalk it up. You can look at the DPS. Their numbers were probably really good. You can look at the kills they got. Probably did really well. This was wonderful in Shu all day, though. I think everything that was won off the front line with his support behind him. I mean, 76,000 damage is not too bad for a front line to be able to come through. But it's the 354 seconds, 152 seconds over Zundel's objective time here. That's where Wonderful wins the game.
You look at the credits per minute as well. It's fun to look at these stats. So rarely is this the difference. But Wonderful, especially in the first round, manages to hold down and contest that objective for so long. He gets his resilience online extremely quickly, which was hilarious to see how fast he was able to shrug off that exile in the first round. But after it's all said and done, man, you got to look at some of these damage dealers for Hype Unit. Getting it going, 19-6 for Emmett Payne, 18-8 for Cool Matt. These guys struggled in the first round.
Yeah.
Wonderful got them through. Wonderful helped them survive the early kind of pressure from Classified. And then they were able to come online later and do their thing.
I mean, you said 19-6, 18-8. Both of those started as 5-3 and 5-4. Like, they were not doing well at the beginning of the game, as you said, but they were able to pick it up. Cool Matt, specifically, I think kind of came into his own in level of play to kind of deal with the Willow specifically. She was more of a threat during that first objective than I feel like I saw pretty much throughout the rest of the game. There were a lot of moments where you had called for it. He needed more shots like that, and, well, he started hitting them.
Unafraid to take those challenges, those 1v1s, and a lot of those shots at long distance. You could see getting in the head, that Enlightenment came out, tried to read his movement there. He was ready for it, stayed unpeaked.
Sees the bird go sailing by.
Just goes
like,
sailing by. All right, that's my cue. Comes back out the Talon Rifle, goes to work. Incredible slash lines from Hype Unit, and they keep getting it done with these kind of subpar drafts from what it looks like compared to what Classified have had. Hype Unit have been showing them up in terms of getting it done with those B squad picks. Let's head into a quick break and see if there's any chance for Classified to come back.
Alienware, the official PC provider of the Paladins Console League.
Welcome back, guys. I mean, if you blinked, you probably ended up missing it. Hype Unit, once again, taking it 4-1, I believe, over Classified in this case. They are looking really, really good. It was literally a extremely, extremely good game for Hype Unit once again.
Yeah, and I was honestly I mean, Hype Unit gets the win, but I'm happy with the way that Classified played that one. You know, kind of, you're by far the underdogs in this matchup. You've been drafting good compositions through and through, and at the end of the day, it's just another example of Hype Unit just has too much. I mean, you can kind of delay. I mean, you can see moments where the Atlas was a great pick. You know, things are kind of hanging in the balance. Leon looks really good for them. But then you have 2 damage dealers on Hype Unit who are knocking on the door of 20 kills. And there were the moments, we kind of looked at that Atlas, like there were some walls that kind of delayed out these fights. But by and large, Hype Unit is just too technical, too controlling in these matchups. I mean, you have to, I think, completely outdraft them to give yourselves like a real inherent advantage to win.
Yeah, I mean, once again, like Classified are really trying their best to be able to try and take one over Hype Unit, but once again, Hype Unit are just good at the game, you know, for said reason. In that case, I mean, they even drafted on the Saris, which is interesting, something we typically don't see. Well, not typically. A healer we literally never see, and they were still able to bring out a win overall for that. We're going to see where we're going for map 3, of course, or at least game 3, I should say. And in this case, it is going to be... Hey, Nick, you got your map. You finally did it.
There we go. We do get a little Frog Isle to round this one out, and I say that because I assume this is where Hype Unit complete one more 3-0. I guess you never really know. I mean, 4-1 for Classified, I don't know. It seemed a lot longer than that. I mean, that was a lengthy contested 4-1, but it was like those last final moments for Hype Unit just kept falling properly. You know, the mid-fights, Classified are out ahead, Hype Unit fight back in, and it's just a little bit more convincing. The trades are a little bit better. So I really am impressed by the way Classified showed up on Stonekeep. It's a 4-1. But Frog Isle, I kind of mentioned it earlier when we were talking about it. This map can be so snowbally. I mean, if Hype Unit start to build some momentum, build an advantage in that first mid or on the first push or whatever it is, this one could be over a lot quicker than what Stonekeep was.
Right, especially if you're not ready for the aggression it is that Hype Unit can bring. Classified, though, are opening their doors with the Genos first. Hype Unit seem to be responding with a potential Barrack, and a Vivian is already looking pretty strong, but the Genos, that has flexibility for anything on Classified side.
Yeah, I like the Genos. I mean, I first pick Genos isn't like all that exciting to me. I mean, I don't know if he's like first pick worthy, but I think that if Hype Unit were able to, now retrospectively, if Hype Unit were able to get a Genos with a Barrack and a Vivian, it would have been, I think, a lot worse off for Classified here. So, you know, it's maybe not the most common first pick. I certainly don't mind it here. And it gives you kind of a chance. I mean, it's a very niche scenario, but like a good through time and space, you connect onto 1, onto 2. Just a little bit of a pivot in those fights can sometimes be enough to lift you out ahead. So, while Genos, I think, is good, flexible as you put it. You can play from range, lots of line of sight breaks. I think is good on Frog Isle. If you look at Classified, sometimes you just need that little extra bump. You just need a through time and space to connect, and they're giving themselves that chance.
Right, but Hype Unit giving themselves, in my opinion, what is a potentially bigger chance they end up locking in this Furia, because Inflame is going to be, Inflame is going to be extremely powerful. I mean, the Classified have answered with something I feel like is okay. They have the Ashe, they have the Tyra. Terminus being considered right here. But the Tyra itself, okay, well, they're going to end up potentially locking in the Kinessa, which they, you know, that's not awful. I mean, like, they've already banned one of the snipers, so why not take the other for yourself?
I think Kinessa, you know, this was traditionally a sniper kind of dual map. One team would get the Strix, one team would get the Kinessa. And Kinessa really hasn't been all that changed. So I think that she is still very viable in the right scenario. They're going to get themselves some good range advantage with that as well. So the question is, what do Hype Unit kind of counter her out with? It could be, and it must have been NIP in the Premier League. They drafted, I believe it was a Ferocity Grover for Bittner on this map to try to outduel that sniper. And I think the skill gap in the PPL is much closer. So like a small disadvantage, a small weird pick like that sometimes does work, sometimes doesn't. But I think that Hype Unit, if it is a Ferocity Grover, still not sold that it is, but would make sense to be on this map. to try to counter out the Kinessa.
I agree with that. I mean, Hype Unit are already looking pretty good. 2-0 already for them. Game 3 on its way, and the curse has been lifted, Nick. You get your Frog Isle.
I don't even know what to say at this point.
Do you even remember what the map looks like anymore?
Nah, not at all.
There's this statue. It's a glorious frog statue that's vomiting a waterfall the entire time.
That sounds awesome. Wow. Look at that boy. Look at him
that
go.
boy.
Certainly knows what he's here to do. Frog Isle, guys. It's a fun one for sure. One of my most memorable casts ever here. The first World Championship coming to an end here between D69 and Burrito. Shouts out to you in the chat if you remember that one. Here are the talents selected for this game, though. Hype Unit up 2-0 over Classified, looking to complete their sweep and continue their march towards that 72-win perfect season, baby.
And this is just another instance. I like Classified's draft better. I think it's going to have a little more struggles on the objective portion of the game, but in terms of fight, I like what they have. I think a Kinessa is more than enough to be able to do a lot of damage here, but you're going to have to kind of open a lot, and it is that ferocity there. Emmett Payne on this Grover. Nice long-range battle. Between the two of them, he's going to be hitting a little harder, but Kinessa has so much one-shot potential with a Genos behind her, and running the right talent. Steady aim just gets you right in there.
Wonderful trying to decide if he wants in or out of this fight on the objective. Kinessa lining up these shots, finds one on Vivian's hip. She exits the team fight here. Starting to take some pressure from Ferocity Grover. Emmett Payne reminding everyone where he's at, where he stands, what he's going to bring to this team fight. Drenzik trying to bait somebody off the map there. Commando's grab would have done the trick, but it's going to be used to get himself back on the map, lest he get a taste of his own medicine.
I'm trying to think about it as of right now, but it's 99% for Classified. The thing I'm wondering is if Hype Unit have a champion they can't play at this level as they get aggressive into this. They're causing a lot of distress. They're keeping overtime going, at least for themselves. And the tanks are pretty low. They should be able to take this fight and take back over.
Terminus unable to have his ultimate charge means he is out for the count in this fight. Forensic grabs Ian Hart as well. I don't even know by what angle he managed to find that kill. Cool Matt's going all the way in with this Grover. Now looking for a new angle through his enemy's window. It's close, but no cigar just yet. Time and Space from downtown cleans up Cool Matt and gives Classified a really good chance to get back in on this.
Oh, there's going to be an assert dominance deep in the backline. It's going to be able to stun two, but an overpower immediately just throws her off the map. They're back in this. Dome Shield's ready. And Hype Unit are going to be able to get that last touch.
They certainly are. Took them till ultimates came online, but once they were, the full suite of the team fight and the full strength of Hype Unit was able to be put on display there, not even needing to use Inflame or Dome Shield, both of which are kind of just now getting charged anyway, so they didn't have the option to. But all that means they have it for the offense, and they can use those resources to keep this momentum rolling.
And I mean, that's a great way. Very similar to how we see Assert Dominance used. You can use the Dome Shield just a little more aggressively so you don't lose ground where you're standing. Keeps you up in the fight, kind of keeps you going.
Where were you swinging, brother?
Not sure what he was trying to hit there. Some ghosts in the aisles. They're just not able to be found here.
Knocked up. It looks like, you know,
Frog
it is
Isle's
Frog
haunted.
Isle, but I mean, a lot of knock-up cards being run by Zofik, I feel. He's really tossing these enemy front lines around. They'll get, you know, their resilience online eventually. Headhunter is popped and Reagan goes to work. Emmett Payne the first to fall. Cool Matt the second. Zundo gets in there and manages to clean up wonderful as well as a 3-for-0. Percussion 4. Lots and lots and lots of knockback here. Everyone's got to be careful through the early onset of this game. Indomitable 5 as well.
Yeah.
50% lifesteal. Fairly common card. I don't know about level 5, but it's a fairly common card to see Ash loadouts overall. He's waiting. Wants to get one of these members knocked off. Unable to kind of capitalize on that moment. Instead has to burn his movement skill just to get out of that position.
And it's going to get a little bit more aggressive here for Hype Unit because of that. They get away, but they're not going to get away with their lives. Zundel incredibly low. Does have reanimate, though. So a death here isn't the end of the world. He's going to go ahead and pop that almost immediately, but Regan's the target, and Wonderful finds the kill.
Yeah, Wonderful just heads to the back line, and while he waits for Terminus to respawn, he grabs himself a different kill, and he's maintaining this position behind Terminus, making it extremely hard to decide which way do I want to power siphon, which of these angles do I care about covering more. Wonderful, incredibly good positioning in that fight, forcing Classified to make decisions they wouldn't have otherwise even had to have crossed their minds.
So when we looked at Zoffic's loadout, you'd kind of pointed out like lifesteal being run a little higher, and even knockback being run a little higher than I'm used to. And it's weird because he has pretty much all of the same cards that you expect to see in an Ashe loadout, but the points are just distributed in this really weird way, where he only actually has 1 point in the health card, giving him not as much of an edge. I mean, normally that's where Ashe will go, just because tankiness, as far as things go, she's pretty healthy at base, but that helps bring her into, you know, like Barrack and Inara areas, that heavy metal. So only sitting at 4650 instead of the plain 4500. But heavy metal, I'm used to seeing like heavy metal 4, Indomitable 3, and then Gatecrasher percussion probably 3, maybe 2, depending on it. And sometimes maybe not even percussion. But on this map, he's looking for the knockback, and at this position, he could actually maybe find a good spot.
Mr. Pickles cleans up another with time and space. Trenzik evens the score at 1-1 for this fight. Wonderful still has the Dome Shield available. Could drop it onto this Terminus. He wants to, not under any threat right now. Not forced into the Dome Shield, still waiting, still sitting on it, still sitting under his teammates who are dying to a crossfire, however. Deep to the back line, and Emmett Payne wants to dive for it on Grover. He's getting offensive with the tree, and it's making it work. Grabs the kill on Ian Hart, disengages successfully as Cool Matt picks up Terminus, and the boys move forward to zone.
They stop it at 66%. Soon they're going to be able to match that. But Frog Isle, the zone is pretty forgiving overall. I mean, if you can break this a little bit, you should be able to touch the point one more time. As Zoffic does not, or does have the assert dominance, does not have the reanimate. So it's going to be up to this Ashe to really create this space.
Dome Shield is spent. Cool Matt is spotted out. Can he grab the kill before he goes down? The answer is no. Reagan finds Shu again. Classified are doing such a good job at getting these entry frags, or should I say re-entry frags, picking off somebody who's making a rotation back to a defensive location, but isn't able to do so in kind. So it won't be the perfect set here today for Hype Unit. They do lose a point to Classified here now, and they hopefully can hold this one because the defensive point is still on the board, meaning they could end up 3 for 1 as long as they don't let this payload go all the way home.
We see defensive points like that come into favor so often, and a lot of these days. Comeback mechanics still being enabled fully for Classified in the next round, if that happens, is maybe a big threat for them. But Hype Unit, they still got 80% up against Classified there. It was just a really good pick early from Mr. Pickles, and then a really good re-engage. Plus, I'm going to give the shout-outs to the Wrecker that Ian Hart has bought to help him deal with that Vivian and allow him to get a lot more aggressive, because there was no way Cool Matt was going to stand in front of that for long.
He's Swiss cheesing these shields in a matter of seconds, especially while the crossfires are ripping. At the record 2 mark here, has already kind of retooled into Cauterize 1. Again, Mr. Pickles, my man is 3 for 3 in the snipes from the back line. Picks up Cool Mac, Reagan finds Shu, Reagan finds Emmett Payne. Trenzik is only able to answer back with 1 before being taken down himself by Mr. Pickles. Wonderful is all that stands in the way of conversion, and he goes down as well. A huge shot from the backside. Reagan on point with this Kinessa.
Yeah, really showcasing what Kinessa can do. Again, steady aim plus Luminary.
Big boom.
It was pulled out from her own kit. She used to be able to, with a headshot, do 50% increased damage, which for the most part hit 2400, which killed pretty much anything save for tanks and like Tyra at the end of the day, and Buck in the right, or with the right loadout. Now you need that Luminary to come through. I believe they stacked it to, you know, somewhere around 40%.
I think it's
going to
like
give
45%.
you enough. Yeah, so you're going to be able to hit some really, really solid damage shots.
To your point, most characters since then have been rebalanced around the 2200 baseline HP mark. So
easier to hit those headshots. It's a little less damage, but at the end of the day, she's dealing, what, 2300 instead of 2400, maybe slightly under, slightly above. No matter what, it's going to be a good chunk of damage onto the Furia, onto the Vivian, and onto the Grover, causing all of them a lot of trouble.
Oh, the Enflame is popped by Hype Unit here as they look for their first frags, but nobody's really moving for. Normally you see Enflame and then everybody's going in. This is just Enflame and everybody stood still for the essentially entire duration of that buff. Not really getting anything for it. Stun comes through. Reanimate is ready to go. Terminus back onto the point. Up and down, crushing and slamming. Poor Cool Man. My man just got juggled. And now he's in trouble. Back to spawn he goes. Hopefully he'll be back to this fight. Still plenty of time. Wonderful. Terminus backing each other out. And managing to just keep this one relatively even through about the first minute or so.
And the way Wonderful was just dancing through his barricade is probably, like, that's the ideal Barrett kind of dodge, where it's just slide to the right, slide to the left, slide to the right, like just keep bouncing back and forth between it. Nothing Zundel did actually connected with him, and now without Reanimate, once again, he goes down, this time permanently.
Wonderful's done a great job finding those angles behind Power Siphon. He knows the ins and the outs of these Terminus picks. He just played it earlier on in this set. 87% for Hype Unit as the Dome Shield goes down. Mr. Pickles finally comes up dry for the first time this game. Wonderful penetrates the backline again and cleans up Reagan. My man is having an MVP type of performance here on Frog Isle. Not only is he holding down the point like he was on Stone Keep, but he's finding ways to penetrate the backline. He's killed this sniper on 2 different occasions.
Yeah.
He's making Terminus's life very difficult by constantly being behind where Terminus wants to be facing and just finding a way to weave those shots under the power siphon.
And even in that instance, he had vision on Ian Hart to the point where Ian Hart couldn't leave the cover of the tree and show his face to the objective because Wonderful was waiting for it. He knew how low he was. It kept him kind of corralled away, so someone on Hype Unit was getting that kill one way or another. And when they finally did, you just lose so much damage off the side of Classified.
Ow.
Makes it a little easier for them to come through. And there, again, that's how much damage Kinessa, Headhunter, Luminary, all of it
Yeah,
can
no
do.
kidding. That's
It's
a
almost
lot
enough
of
to
damage.
kill off
Amp.
Barrick.
That is a lot of damage, Amp. Here comes the Enflame and some movement this time. Reagan, 14-5 on the Kinessa. Have to definitely commend the guy. He's done a great job this time around, and great KD, top damage in the game. Wonderful, hot on his heels. This little Barrack. I've seen this one before, Gormizer. It's Vivian bearing down on Terminus, who is gassed. He's out of Power Siphon juice, and he's got no Reanimate. Kinessa's going to try and peek this one out, but you've got Emmett Payne getting in there once again, diving the back line, forcing everyone off of the payload, and it will complete the 4-1 here. Not the perfect set, but damn near it for Hype Unit.
Yeah.
They managed to keep this glorious season alive.
At the end of the day, all they care about is map wins. They're like, you know what? Points in between, those can get murky. But as long as we keep up the 3 O's, they are perfectly fine with it. And that one, much like the one before it, I have to give almost all of the credit to Wonderful. Everyone does really well on the team, but
Yeah.
he's just playing at a different level today. I don't know what it was, but that Fernando game was zoned in, and that Barrett game, he just shouldered so much work.
Yeah, very, very good stuff to show really why Barrack, I think, is a very highly contested frontline pick at the moment. On PC, he's probably the best frontline only because, like, so many of the power tanks are often always banned, right? There's never an Atlas, there's never Makoa. But I think Wonderful does a good job there, holding down the objective at 211 seconds and still getting 90,000 damage out and counted for. Quick shout out to Emmett Payne at 73K on the Grover as well. I mean, it's a support and a front line taking the top 2 places on the damage charts for Hype Unit specifically. Again, honorable mention goes to Reagan. Had a great game on Kinessa, great KD, but still overshadowed by Wonderful.
Also, it doesn't show it, but ults connected for Mr. Pickles. Pretty high. 5-1 and 13 is a really good slash line for a Genos. And the biggest issue is you have that 14-5, that 5-1. They look great. And honestly, if you take those and maybe switch some things up with the tank, that's a winning composition. But the 1-9, the 4-9, the 2-7, Zofik and Zundel specifically were just kind of too bogged down on the objective by Wonderful, who was 10-3-9. Like, they just couldn't get past this wall that was this dwarf.
And this was that first one, so gets this kill onto Terminus, forces out the Reanimate, immediately heads to the high ground, kills this Kinessa.
What's up, buddy?
Wonderful responsible for at least 2, maybe 3 of Reagan's deaths, but then rotates and stays back here. See how he stays on this side, the defender side of the map, forcing this Terminus. He's constantly wiggling, doesn't know which way he wants to face. The indecision is even better for Wonderful, makes it even easier for him to go down. Again, there's another successful dive onto Kinessa with the get back to his side of the map. So he's getting these dives, getting these kills, staying alive, and then look where he ends up, dutifully back on the objective, capturing away.
Also, 35-50, it's not the biggest health bar you'd see. In fact, as far as tanks go, it's the smallest that you'll see.
Yeah.
But that was a good representation. Right after he kills Kinessa, he's almost dead. Rocket Boots gets him a little bit of shield, keeps him alive
Big
long
shield.
enough. Then you get a burst heal coming from the Furia, a burst heal coming from Grover. He just skyrockets back to full health, puts his little healing station down, is like, all right, let's get back to it. And jumps down onto the point again.
He's the lowest base, but when you factor in 2 900 health rocket boot shield, whatever healing you're getting from healing station, which is almost 200 per tick.
Yep.
And then you mentioned the dancing around the barricade. If you factor that into your effective health pool, I mean, Barrick,
he's got like 9,000 health.
He's a real son of a to take down sometimes, man. He can really, really give you the slip and just be frustrating to try and deal with. Wonderful and incredible performance. Happy to be back on Frog Isle in the caster's booth, but let's get it back up to the desk and hear their thoughts.
Thank you, guys. I'm happy for you, Nick. I'm glad that you were actually able to commentate on a Frog Isle map. And, of course, I'm sure Hype Unit are happy as well, taking it 3-0 over Classified. I mean, once again, still at the top, still undefeated, still proving they are an extremely dominant console league team.
Yeah, same old from them in reality. I mean, from the beginning of the split up to this point, I mean, there was like a little time where Classified and eStorm were still kind of in that conversation, but it was more like, yeah, they're only 4 wins down with 5 weeks left. They can absolutely come back. But I don't know. It was never really in that much doubt. I mean, this is a team, again, we've harped on it already, but this is a team that hasn't lost a single map in 2019 in the console league yet. So never really up to, or never really any doubt really in a lot of these matchups. So it's good to see Hype Unit trying some new things and feeling confident in a lot of their kind of quirky compositions were working for them today.
Right, exactly. I mean, we saw the Saris, we saw Fernando Ash, we saw a lot of different things that Hype Unit were trying to bring out. Saris, Fernando, and Ash all in one map, too. I mean, on Stone Keep. I mean, Hype Unit were changing things up a little bit today, but of course, they were still proving that they were a dominant team, regardless of who their picks were. They did an extremely good job, and I'm excited to see how they're going to end up doing in qualifiers. We're going to take a look at the NA schedule and see what has already happened today, what we've seen heating up in Onslaught, Hydra Gaming, and Strimix, eStorm, and Eternity Esports. Onslaught, Hydra, and eStorm have all won their matches. We apologize. We were not actually able to show those to you. Hype Unit and Classified are going to be the very, very last one, which is one was that we actually just managed to see.
Yeah, and you know, I think Onslaught likely would have found themselves a pretty convincing win there anyway. But still looking at this last matchup, I mean, between Hype Unit and Classified, we round out the day with that one. And again, it's a 3-0, but great moments from Classified throughout this set. Even on Frog Isle, there's some time where the Kinessa is going huge, keeping Classified in it. I mean, this was a relatively, it was about as contested as you can get in a 3-0 with like a 4-0, a 4-1, and a 4-2, I guess, at the end. So you could see these moments from Classified where they're feeling confident, they're able to take it to Hype Unit. So hats off to them, but hats off to Hype Unit for grabbing themselves the 3 wins.
I agree with that as well. We're going to take a look at the standings as well to see how it was that they were actually end up being placed. Once again, still at the top, 11-0. Now they've just added 3 more points to their already reign of terror. They've qualified, Classified, eStorm, and Eternity Esports all below that 2nd, 3rd seed. Onslaught has qualified, Hydra Gaming, Strimix, and Heating Up all in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th seeds as well.
And you know, Onslaught, you know, they're only 2 wins behind, or 2 map wins rather, behind Hype Unit. So they dropped out of 11 games, only 2 maps. So they're 2 maps away from being a perfect 33 for them. In a region with Hydra, who are, I would say, kind of a little bit above where Classified are. I mean, there's certainly some conversation to have there, but Onslaught, very excited to see them as well.
I am, yeah. I'm extremely excited for them too. Of course, we're going to look at EU standings now. See that Cyclone has qualified and Flashpoint, both of them for EU Xbox and EU PS4. Congratulations to them. 9-2 for Cyclone. Vroom Vroom Bust Out, Absolute Rain, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Air Monitor, Stush, and Aerial Arise, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th seed right there.
That's right. We got 4 regions, 4 asteristed teams on those scoreboards. Everyone from the console league is decided. We know who we're going to see here. And, you know, so when you look towards next week, it's kind of what are we expecting to see? I think a lot of it is just where these teams are, what they're looking to try to do, maybe change some stuff up. Flashpoint versus Aaron Monitor, you know, despite every team being qualified and in, I think that one still could be contested. More recently than not, it's been pretty heavily in Flashpoint's favor. But very winnable games for your qualified teams next week. Cyclone will feel confident over Absolute Rain. I think Onslaught Hydra, again, could be a good one. And then Hype Unit over Eternity, they'll feel confident as well. But one more look at Classified. I think Classified have a good chance to kind of end their PCL split on a good note against eStorm.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like they'll be able to at least put up a fight, if not win, against East Storm right there because of the fact that they are a good team. Even still, I mean, they went up against the #1 seed.
Yeah.
They haven't dropped a map. It's not easy, but even still, their standings are at least now 5-6. They were 5-5 before. But that is it, unfortunately. For all it is that we have for you guys today, PCL is already about to be said and done. I am Fawn. This was Day. This was Dulcin.
Still is.
You know
I mean,
what?
it was, but I also-
yeah, was Day. Okay, well, phrased wrong, but it doesn't matter due to the fact that, I mean, the day is already over. Thank you guys so much for watching. Same as always. Love you all. We'll see you tomorrow.
The Paladins Console League is brought to you by Evil Mojo Games, developers of Paladins.
We're here live from Atlanta. The players are here. The stage is set. Let's get down for
This is where we also talk about the new stuff that we've got coming out for you all.
HRX is literally my favorite time of year. It truly isn't close. This is what I live for.
If that's second place, I can't wait to see what first place is.
It's HRX.